Hey guys, what is going on? Paragon here with another How To Crucible video. This week we're going to be looking at adaptation. Now, adaptation is something that I feel it takes a lot more thought, and it's not necessarily your gun skill, but your ability to assess what's going on, your situational awareness, and be able to change multiple aspects of your game accordingly. Now, a lot of players make the mistake of running either the same guns or the same strategy. Number one, there's a lot of guns in the meta that you can pick up and just stick with those and do really well, but sometimes you're going to run into a team that just outright beats you with that. Sometimes you have a team that runs the same strategy over and over again, which it may be a great strategy that works really well for you, but if you come up against a good team, they're going to adapt and change and mold their strategy around what you're doing, and if you can't do the same, you're going to have a really hard time in any PvP content in Destiny, whether it be Trials or Clash or Iron Banner, anything else like that. If you come up against a good team that knows how to adapt to the way you play and the way you set up your tactics, you are going to have a very hard time if you can't do that as well. So the first thing you need to look at is knowing when to change your weapons. Now, each map has a predisposition to a certain playstyle and a certain weapon type, but is still also playable with other guns. So for me, I started this game sniping, and I'm not the best sniper in the game. Yeah, there's times that I can hit really good shots, I can be really consistent, and then there's other times where I'm just not landing my shots, and I can't actually pump it out. But when I pull out a shotgun, I'm actually really consistent with my shotgun play. So sometimes if I'm versing a team that, number one, is a better sniper than me, or my sniping just isn't working, I'm going to switch to that shotgun and mix it up. Why? Because if we've already gone 2 or 3 rounds into a Trials game and we've already lost and we're not really making any progress, using the same route or the same guns is not going to help. So switching up to the shotgun allows me to play a little bit more aggressive, which personally I do like to pressure people. I like to put them with their back against the wall. I like to force them to make mistakes so that they have a hard time dealing with the pressure I'm dishing out. So make sure you know when to change your weapons depending on the map and depending on the skill level of your opponents. If you have people who are just amazing at sniping and you're not as confident as what they are, don't keep contesting them with the sniper. You're just going to have a really hard time trying to keep up with them. So change your weapons when you need to. So you also need to look at adapting to the enemy's strategy. So when the enemy team sets up for their first run in Trials, they might do a 2-1 split, or they might all go to one section. You need to figure out what works for them and how they like to play. So those first 2 rounds of that Trials match, or those first 2 minutes of a Clash or Control game, you will need to figure out rather quickly what they are doing and how to play around that. So you can set up your strategy first and go straight for your game, but you also need to scout the enemy and see what they're doing, see where they're positioning, what weapons are they running, how are they setting up their team. Do they have one person who's really good and they try to support him and let him get the kills, or is it an equal spread between all 3 or all 6 members of the team? You need to look at how they're setting up. So looking at being able to adapt. If someone is rushing you with a shotgun, you need to keep your distance. Now, this is a mistake I see a lot. People complain about shotguns, and yes, the conspiracy theory D's range is a little bit crazy at the moment. Hopefully that does get addressed in the next patch. But make sure when you're versing a shotgun, you use your vertical space. Now, I've covered this in a previous video, so I don't want to go too into depth here, but a shotgunner can be countered by staying at distance, because he can't get his shotgun hits on you if you're on the other side of the map, unless he has a Fellwinter's Light, which we all know what that gun can do. But sniping is actually a great counter for shotgunning, and vice versa. So if your enemy team is rushing you with shotguns all the time, find a position on the map that has a lot of vertical space and gives you room to snipe, or to even use your primaries at a distance before they can even get in close. If they're using blink, the best thing you can do is the second they blink, you jump straight in the air, because they will then have to blink a second time because they're out of position from that first one, and now their blink is on cooldown. You've essentially negated the effectiveness of blink. I can't believe I just told everyone to counter the blink. I love blink, but there you go. So looking at changing your strategy, you need to be really smart about how you change it around the enemy team. So if they have a really strong snipe game, you don't want to play peekaboo with them. You need to figure out other ways. Stay together as a group, so if they do get a pick, you can revive your teammates, or you can, if you're in Clash or any other 6v6 game mode, you can get that crossfire potential on a team that may be better than you in certain aspects of their game. So being able to adapt to how the enemy plays is very important. And the last thing is changing your strategy when you need to. Now, the main team I run with, we usually have 2 snipers and 1 shotgun. Sometimes we run with 3 snipes, but it's usually myself and Matt running snipes and someone else as a support member using a shotgun following one of us around until we get a pick. So what happens sometimes is there are better snipers in the game than myself, and I can't contest them sometimes. So having someone else with me is great, because if I die, they can pick me up. But if this is happening consistently and I'm not winning my engagements, I need to change. Now, there's multiple times where I've come up against teams in trials and they run to the same room with the same guns at the same time every single round, and you end up 5-0ing those guys without really breaking a sweat, because they just are so predictable. You know exactly where they're going to be, and it makes your game very easy, because when someone is predictable, it opens up the options for you to play more aggressive and to position in a more aggressive way, because you already know where the enemy is going to be. So changing up your strategy when you need to helps make you stay unpredictable. Now, being predictable in any PvP game is a huge downside. If your gameplays or your tactics or your playstyles are very predictable, it opens you up for counters. If you look at shotgunners, for example, they're mostly going to run at you in a straight line. So what can you do? Run a sticky grenade. Throw the sticky grenade at them, jump straight in the air, the shotgunner will miss, your grenade will kill him, easy counter. So looking at a sniper, they're going to be hard scoping at head level. Again, I've addressed some of these points before, but if you're coming around a corner and you know someone's hard scoping, jump. So they're going to get a body shot or a foot shot, or even better, they're going to miss you completely, because they're going to be aiming at where your head should be, not where your body is moving. So make sure you stay unpredictable with your strategies. So sometimes, even if we're 3-0 on a team, I might call out on a round, hey, let's rush this section, or let's do this, or let's do that. Let's go to the completely opposite side of the map and do something completely different to catch them off guard. Because even teams that aren't the greatest, they will pick up on what you're doing and they will start to figure out what to do around that. Even if they're turtling up in their base and camping and your gun skills are better, they still have the chance to get the pick, because technically you have to be the aggressor if you want to push in and get those kills, and it's easier to defend than to attack. So looking at these positions, make sure that you know when to push and when to switch up strategies, so that that round 3 heavy, sometimes I'll rush their heavy, sometimes I'll stay back at ours. It's staying unpredictable so that you can adapt to your opponent. So it's super important for you to be able to change what you're doing. Now, if you are stuck with just one set of guns, one class, and one play style, you are going to have a hard time with adaptation, but learn how to play that differently. Shotgunners don't always have to be the guy running in trying to get pressure. Shotgunners are really, really good for defending a sniper against enemy shotgunners. So if you find the enemy team is constantly getting to your snipers, killing them before you can do anything with your shotgun, play the defensive role and protect one of your snipers. If you as the sniper find that the enemy team snipers are not that great, then you can start playing more aggressive and you can start pulling off harder shots or pushing lanes stronger just because they're not landing their hits. So it's really important for you to be able to read what's going on with the match and change your tactics, strategies and play styles to suit that. So as a team, communication is the most important thing. So everyone needs to be on the same page. You don't want to call for an abstract play and then no one else backs you up. So make sure everyone's on the same page and working through that. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope these tips help you guys out. Make sure you leave a comment and a like if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time.
10 seconds. Give them hell. You're in overtime. If you can't kill them, capture the zone.
Guardian down.
All enemies have been eliminated.